This podcast contains adult language, descriptions of violence, sexual references, and other possibly offensive themes. Listener discretion is advised.
Previously on Back to the Story.
I don't know if vigilante would be the right word. I'm just looking for some fabric.
But you're determined to get it yourself, and rather than rely on what seems to be this community's wonderfully corrupt law enforcement.
You see a man, dark hair, shaved tight and low on the sides, and you see even from here some piercing blue eyes. This is Blue-Eyed Charlie. He's kind of casually glancing around, but is definitely watching.
I love you in a way unlike all the rest. You are very, very special to me, Vesper.
Ready? That one. You guys ready to come back to the story? All right. So, after some post-midnight embrace between Vesper and Amsen, some outfit trying on and drinking wine, and some bartending, you eventually find rest somewhere and wake up for the next morning. I assume reconvening at the Copper Sail or at Stonehill. What do you guys do in the morning?
Probably the Copper Sail.
Sure. Okay.
I would have wanted to make sure the previous night to fill Mogthur in on the specifics of that conversation with Voyage and what he's expecting.
Okay. So over the night or after closing up, you fill him in on the specifics before finding rest, waking up in the morning, and then the rest of the scales with Stitches coming back to meet at the Copper Sail. During the day, there's no patrons anymore. Mogthur and Brett are sleeping. Brett, presumably wherever the hell he lives. So it's very quiet. Y'all probably slept in a little late as everyone had late nights, but nevertheless, you wake up to the crisp autumn morning and have met in the Copper Sails.
Felix will be in his outfit.
Well, don't you look nice?
That's certainly a look.
Quite. And as of note, at the part of my rest, I had wiped the writing off of the wooden bracelet I wear and inscribed it onto a leather cuff that is around my ankle underneath my clothes, because I changed the skills that I get from Aeon, and charisma has to be an animal-based material.
Seeing Felix's outfit, what is Stitches wearing?
Stitches is wearing something that's probably not quite so flamboyant, but a very beautifully tailored mauve suit with a nice little hat with a mini veil and some very tall knee-high leather boots.
Ellory's just gonna give her one of those, up and down looks, especially noting the boots.
Stitches will offer her a lemon drop.
Thank you. Don't mind if I do.
All right, so shall we go over the plan for today again?
That's a good idea, because I think I missed most of it.
Great.
You have your date tonight, right?
Oh, I was hoping we could go during the day. Miss Forrester and I will go to I may butcher this, the Fern Burns? Fern Burns?
The Fern Arms?
Fern Arms.
Fern Arms. Fern Arms kind of merged those two together, who own the winery. And I was hoping if during the fitting I do my little mind trick, perhaps through some clever conversation by Miss Forrester, we could learn something. I do plan to probe deeper if I can, which may set off a couple alarm bells.
I might be able also to help out. I can be very persuasive when needed. I just need to know what information you're looking for about the winery.
We only need her to think it. So what she says to you may not actually have to be important. We need her to think about what's going to happen, the big event in the month, what is beneath the winery? What does she or he or whoever we're dealing with serve? Those kinds of questions. If we can get to the bottom of it, perhaps if it is as you all suspect that the winery is behind the root of this problem, perhaps we could excise it from the source. If we have some confirmation that yes, there is a thing and maybe a hint at what it is. Which is why I think probing deeper, while dangerous, is I'm able to extract a secret. I can focus on a certain topic and hopefully grab something of that. It will make whoever I am reading aware.
How much will they be aware of?
They'll know that someone was in their head.
But not necessarily that it was you?
No.
I mean, if they're dealing with aberrations, they're probably quite used to that sort of thing. So maybe they'll either suspect it more or suspect it less.
I will do what I can to let Miss Forrester take the lead on this. In fact, I will take off my pouch and hand it to her. Keep this on you. It will allow us to communicate telepathically.
Stitches looks down on it, impressed, but also very critically. Does it go with her outfit?
I mean, it is a plain brown pouch, so probably not. It's his own, so there are slight embellishments, so it's better than the ones that they have, but...
Okay. I'm checking something really quickly.
Checking your color palette, making sure it goes with your outfit.
I'm checking what prestidigitation can actually do.
That's a
I think it
flaw.
can recolor an object.
It can, yeah.
Yes. All right. Well, I will kind of color it so that it at least matches the color scheme, and we'll kind of try to tuck it in my jacket somewhere unobtrusive, which is difficult because it's tailored so beautifully. How does it work?
You just kind of think at him. It's weird.
I think at him.
Focus on me in your head, and then think the words you want me to hear.
I very, very slowly and directly ask him if he has any fashion sense.
I aim to be unobtrusive. A lot of what I do is better if I'm unnoticed, and I tend to not be very, charismatic. So, the less people pay attention to me, I know I look drab, which is probably why I clung to you the instant you arrived.
Well, you certainly look better now. Okay. Very cool.
Great. So I'll be talking to Dia today to see if I can get away under the rook, right?
I'm still worried about that idea.
I mean, I don't have to talk to her. Do we have a way in without her?
Well, Mogthur might be able to find something. Do you really think that Dia would be willing to tell you?
I don't know. I like to think I can trust her because she's practically family, but I don't know.
I'm also a little bit concerned about you being seen speaking with any of your Covenant friends.
Right.
But I know that's part of the plan with your date tonight, so...
Yeah. Yep.
I just...
That tonight happening.
Hope that Voyage would understand that you're using him for information.
I am. If anything comes up, you can tell him that I am absolutely using him for information. It's entirely ulterior motives. Trying very hard not to look at Amsen while she's saying this.
Speaking of Amsen's just kind of been a little bit lost in thought over the past couple minutes or so. And he'll actually turn to Ellory and say, "Oh, Ellory, sorry to interrupt. Can I borrow a piece of that magic paper that you have?"
Oh, the page is a secret?
The one that can
from Ali's
send
doc.
to somebody.
Sure.
Okay, thank you.
What? You have something in mind?
Yeah, I just realized I have a friend that I can maybe arrange a meeting with. That might be able to help us.
Well, that would be good. That would definitely be good if you have someone... Who is it?
Is there a limit to how much I can write on this?
As far as I know, it's what you can fit on the page.
Oh, well, I've got pretty small writing, so that's good. And Amsen will start writing.
Okay. I also talked to Lysander last night. He's going to try and get in touch with people in the winery to see how it's been changing. It's been a decade, though, since he's had any real business with them, so... I can talk to my contacts, so like I mentioned yesterday, Mogthur and Gregory, and see what they might know.
All right, well, it seems like everyone has something to do.
Well,
I suppose, Miss...
I'm not sure if I have anything except waiting around for Mogthur to get in touch with people.
And that's something to do.
I don't like sitting around feeling useless.
Well, Ellory, you're awfully good at, making people like you. Maybe you could help me after I get back from talking to people for, later.
Aha. And I kind of look at her. I'm like...
Do you want me to say please?
Oh, no, you don't have to say please. I am all in.
Okay. And I will think at Felix. It gives her something to do.
I think I can come up with a few ways to, enhance your assets.
The sneer on Felix's face. All right, shall we get to it then?
Off we go. No time like the present.
Stitches and Felix are going to the winery?
Correct.
Okay. And Vesper and who are going to Dia?
Amsen, and am I going to Dia or am I just going to Gregory and Mogthur?
Where were you wanting to go? Just to
checking
Gregory?
with Ellory.
Oh, sorry.
We said no on Dia, right? Gonna hold off on that.
Didn't necessarily say no on Dia. Actually, what exactly is it that you hope to get out of her?
Just a way in, more than anything. She can just sort of cover for us.
Maybe we should wait on it. See if Mogthur's contacts come through with anything.
Okay.
Stitches. Before you go off, if we do end up sneaking under Rothburn Rook, think you would be able to come up with some kind of masks for us? I don't want to end up having to kill any guards or anything like that, but if we get spotted, I don't want them to see our faces either.
Oh, I have a few tricks up my sleeve that might work just perfectly.
Okay.
So as you're discussing and preparing to initiate and go your separate ways, Amsen, you finish your letter. It disappears, the paper, into thin air. And just as you're wrapping up the conversation, a minute or two later, Amsen, the paper kind of reappears, folded, kind of drifting back and forth down like a falling leaf.
Oh. Is it the one that I sent? Or is it a different one?
You catch it and look at it, and looks like it's been folded. The outside is what you sent. Opening up, you can see on the inside there's a letter, a return letter.
I read it. But that was quite fast.
I will send you what it said. Literally right now.
As he's doing that and Elle and I are walking over, I'll just sort of coach her. Stick to questions about their business. Maybe mention your missing friend and the tragedy there, not implying anything, but if they know, I might be able to pick up something from that.
Gotcha. Now, we would have, I'm assuming, already discussed this when we did the forgery the previous night, but are you still going by Felix in this case, or did we change your name for this charade?
He would not have thought of it, but if you point that out, we can change his name to what's a weird fashion guy name?
I mean, Felix sounds great.
That is true.
Whatever.
Maxwell.
It was Maxwell, yes. And where are you from? I didn't get that in my notes.
Asmazaras.
Okay. Excellent. Okay. I'm all ready, and off we go. Walk into the Fen Arms. Now, would I have had, I believe you said, Klaus, that I had direct relationship with them before, or at least Halston had, I think.
Yeah. And Halston has probably had a lot, but you've probably had some.
Okay.
Some connection. Yeah. designing things specifically for them for events and such.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. All right.
So as Amsen is reading this letter, you guys begin to split off, Felix and Elle, or Stitches, going towards, you said you want to go to the Fern Arms? Is that right? Okay, did you want to go to the winery or to their manor?
Oh, probably the manor.
Yeah, that's the only way I think this makes sense.
Yeah.
Okay. So you guys begin to go there as the rest of you split off. You guys exit the exchange, the market district, and cross through the district of Kincross, which is sort of this middle upper class area, and then up onto the raised kind of plateau hill that is Warm Garden. This is where all the manors are and all the most wealthy families in Embershore. You can see the walls along are well decorated with murals and plants, and emberstones have been carved and embedded into pieces of the walls to serve as decoration and for lighting. And you head towards Manor Fernarm. As you get there, it's maybe 2 or 3 blocks from the winery. As you begin to approach and see this large stone building, well made, with what clearly is a courtyard in the front. You can see a large, maybe 20-foot wide gate. Looks like wrought iron embedded onto hard wood. Big enough for a wagon to pass through. As you approach, and you see there are 2 Covenant kind of standing outside. Though they look better dressed than normal.
As we get up to the street, before we're quite in view of the guards, I want to pull out one of my Detect Magic scrolls and burn that just so I have it for the 10 minutes as we're getting in.
Yes, you burn it as you're kind of approaching, and you see this courtyard with the manor behind it of stone. You see banners hanging from the manor, and also embedded in wrought iron onto the door itself. You see the family sigil, the black staff that's on a yellow background. And as you approach the gates, there are those 2, looks like private, the hired Covenant, flanking the doors. Do you approach them directly, or?
I do. I approach either whatever I would know, whether just to go up and knock or go up to them directly. Okay. That's how to get the door open.
Yeah, yes, you would know to go to them. So as you do so, they kind of business.
Elle Forrester's fashion designer from Wild Elegance here to see the great and elegant Mrs. Fernarm.
Of course. One moment. As he turns, unlocks the gate, pushes it open, and begins to guide you guys inside. As you walk in, you enter into the courtyard. You can see there's sort of a barn, though it's made out of stone, no animals, in the same style as the courtyard and the west of the manor proper. You can see to the right is a garden. There's a small pond. There's beautifully carved statues standing about. They're all dressed in fine cloths kind of draped around them. As you approach the primary doors, you see the door itself. This door is of dark wood, maybe ebony or teak of some sort, stained to be darker. This time you see the staff of yellow, kind of at its center, made out of some sort of bronze or copper metal. He knocks on the door, and a moment later, the door opens and you see looks like a servant in not peasant clothes, just kind of commoner, but well dressed. She opens the door. She's like mid-30s woman. Yes. What can I do for you?
Elle Forrester's with guest here to see the elegant and ever-glorious Mrs. Fernarms.
Of course, I will. Please come inside. And she moves aside, gesturing you into the lobby. Please have a seat. I will inform her, and she will be with you post-haste. Of course. She walks through the next set of double doors into the manor proper, and a few minutes go by.
I'll do a quick scan around, see if I notice anything magical.
Quickly, the only thing you pick up initially is you pick up something above you. It's the chandelier. Seems to be a minor enchantment of light of some sort.
Got it.
About 5 or so minutes later, the door opens again. You see the servant woman opening the door, and she will be this way, please, if you'll just follow me.
Thank you.
And she takes you into the next grand hall, pillars on both sides as you walk down, large windows to each side, and takes you to a wing to the left. Entering through another room, another chamber, she eventually takes you into a small office to the side. There's a few bookshelves on the side, but unfolding wall, whatever those are called, divider. Oh, you've been here before. This is where you worked last time with Alston. She will be here in just a moment. Please take a seat. And she exits, closing the door, and you have a few more minutes. After about 10 minutes or so.
As we're waiting there, I'm going to ask Elle, what do you think? Do you think you can handle this in the first 10 minutes, or should I anticipate needing a reason to go out to cast my spell out of eyeshot and come back?
I think it might take a few minutes. I think I can convince her to start talking with us, but it might be difficult to do right away. I do have a plan, though.
All right. If you've got a plan, I'll try and follow. You always keep me in the loop via the bag.
Will do. I tap my finger to my nose in what I think is a very clever conspiratorial way.
Those few moments. After about 10 minutes, the servant opens the door and in walks the servant as well as this woman. Elle, you immediately recognize her as Mogthur Fernarm. She is the lady of house. Wealthy elite, wears ornate fine clothes, dark brunette, bright red lipstick, and blue eyes.
Hello. Good to see you. Would I owe the pleasure?
Livorna, darling. And I go and I rise and I meet her and I say, Darling Halston wanted me to ask you the greatest favor, if you wouldn't mind. This is Maxwell from Asmazares, and he is doing a study on our fashion to try to bring their fashion up to snuff, though I doubt it could be done. And Halston thought, well, the outfits he made for you this last spring, and you wear them so exquisitely that just encapsulate the entire oeuvre of Wild Experience and the elan of Embershore. And if you would be so kind, if you wouldn't mind, to model maybe one or two for him so he could see exactly what it is that they must try to attain to meet, if at all possible.
Of course. Anything for Halston, dear. And of course you... Maxwell, was it?
Yes.
Pleasure. From Asmazares across the sea?
Yes.
Pleasure. I'm going to have Stitches make a deception check. I'm going to say advantage because of your connection and having a elven-dressed gentleman.
That's better. 16.
Okay. She turns to the servant.
Cancel my appointments for the next hour and bring me some wine.
The servant nods and leaves the room, leaving Mogthur to dress and try on whatever outfit you guys have prepared for her.
Okay. And so while this is going on, and she's doing the modeling, and I'm explaining to Maxwell about how we incorporated, the wild thorns from out in the woods, and how, the cut here is the drastic line of the bay, and all of that. I also start talking about how, for the magnificent Livorna specifically, it was inspired by her family's great winery, and asked her if she wouldn't mind to start to explain to Maxwell a little bit about its history and its design. And while I do that, I'm going to cast Suggestion.
Okay. She begins to play.
If she gave me warning about this just before this happened, I would have asked to excuse myself to the restroom, cast Detect Thoughts in there, and come back.
Right. Okay. I definitely would have given you it's coming. So, yeah.
Okay. Able to do so? Go ahead. What are you suggesting?
I'm suggesting that she tell us all about the winery and its design and its history and what goes on there, and just basically trying to get her suggest that she's very open to just talking about the winery.
Okay. Of course. Maxwell, this is the winery, as it's called, is just that. We make the most wonderful wines, but also liquors. I'm sure you've heard, if you are in any of the circles that I might run in, about Basil Black, the liqueur we also ferment there. But the winery is much more than a simple distillery. There is the cellar beneath it, a social club for only the most distinguished and refined of Imbishore's inhabitants. There we do more than simply drink. We party, we socialize, but we also drive Imbishore. Everyone in the cellar, merchants and traders, the nobles even come from time to time. The cellar is a place where we can speak in privacy and in good faith about the future enterprises of the founding families. And of course, Imbishore is always a place where we vie for power, and the cellar is where it is won and lost. I am so very happy to be working with Mr. Belvedere. He has done wonders for our family and our progression and the trajectory of our future lines. I think the future of Clan Fernom is quite bright. So she seems open, has given some information, but she seems remaining open to further. She does get that.
Okay. Any hints on where Embershore is going?
Quite a lot is changing, is going to be coming within the next, what day is it? First frost. Within a month and a half, I believe. Quite a bit will be changing. You see, Mr. Belvedere is quite astute in the arcane and is going to be able to siphon quite a bit of power, he says, from the natural occurrences of this particular location of Embershore and utilize it. No longer will Embershore be simply ran by who has the most wealth, but who has the most money and power. Arcane has found a way to store it. And as part of the family that is funding that operation, we will be receiving it. At least a portion of it.
Elle just kind of adds in that will do wonders to opening up the markets for more beautiful fabrics. I have only been able to study what arcane energies can do to outfits, and it is glorious. I am so excited.
I am as well, and those orbs aren't doing much of anything anyway. Yes, everyone likes to look at the sparkly lights, but with the power we can make them, if we so choose. We're going to have a party, well, tonight, of course, but also on that evening as well. I do hope you come.
We shall have to.
We wouldn't miss it for the world. Thank you so much.
If I may intrude just one more little thing. Mr. Belvedere, who's he?
Mr. Belvedere is the brilliance and developer Basil Black, and he is our proprietor, owner, operator of the cellar. He develops all the wines, the Basil Black, and, as I said, he is that wonderful arcanist. If you've been to the cellar, and you must come this evening, I'm sure you'll meet him. He is wonderful.
Any hints on that secret recipe of Basil Black? Or any other hidden things in the winery? And I will try and probe her mind.
Okay. And is that a wisdom save?
That is I believe so. Sorry. Yes. Probe. Probe. Oh, stop being slow. Wisdom 17.
Okay. As you kind of are listening to her conversation and her mind consciousness kind of overlapping, she's not hiding much. You kind of take this current thought and then probe and almost project your consciousness forward sharply into her mind. And you can see she almost reacts. She kind of flinches back
suddenly. Eyes kind of staring out and ahead, 1,000-yard stare. And inside, you see these images flashing across your mind, across your vision of the winery. You see it's dark, dimly lit. It shifts it, and you see people at tables and standing, drinking, and you see it shift again. You see these big copper vats of things being distilled and fermented, and the wine and basil black being created. Where you see bottles, and it's strange. It's not labeled, yet you understand what it is as it's being poured in. It's fiend blood that's being poured in order to create the basil black, this pitch black Jaeger-looking substance that's distilled out. It shifts again. You see a man, dark, short hair, silvered temples, glowing, vibrant golden eyes, smiling in a tuxedo, Mr. Belvedere. You see it shift another time, and you see a storage room, and then a stone hallway, and you see a large stone chamber room with a dinner table long that holds maybe 12 people. You see the floors look almost tiled, but they've been carved into the stone and not placed. The sides of the walls are rough, as if it's been almost cave-like rough. The walls and ceiling are, with a grand chandelier hanging over the table. And beyond you see this image of the next door cracked open, and inside you see stairs leading up. And you see a crimson light that's fading out of that room that illuminates a structure. You see a red crystal growth that is growing on top of and connected via these intricate wires and tubes and pipes to a vat below of thick glass of dark liquid. You see something moving inside, shifting, shadowy. And above it, the wires go up and towards the ceiling, kind of spiraling around. As you understand, this is something beneath the cellar. All of that, these images flash over Felix's mind as Mrs. Fernum suddenly kind of jolts back and looks around. I'm going to have to ask you to leave now. And she kind of quickly stands up from her stool she was resting on.
Elle looks very confused, like she has no idea what just went on. But it's like, well, of course, thank you so much. I hope Maxwell has what he needs. Maxwell.
Oh, of course. Thank you for your generosity, and I apologize if my questions were too intrusive.
Elle, give me both of y'all give me separate deception checks. I'll say add disadvantage because she was just probed.
Ooh, not terrible. 15.
Damn.
9.
Please leave. And she turns to the side and points her finger towards the door. She claps her hands twice, and that servant woman appears. Take them to the door quickly. This way, please.
Right away.
Yes, right away. Nod, hurry out. And I'm thinking directly at Felix. I'm like, what did you do? What did you do? What did you do?
I got the information we wanted. It's bad, but she knows.
Okay. I don't say that, but I think that.
You guys are led out of the manor by the same servant, through the courtyard, and then outside, where the door is closed behind you. And as you're considering your next move, we'll pop back to the group. Who was going where? Were you all going? As Amsen kind of received his letter, and Felix and Elle went off.
I was going to talk to Gregory and Malfira. I don't know who is coming with me on that. I'm imagining Amsen probably. And I don't know if Bál or Ellory wants to come as well.
Yeah, I can come.
I think Ellory probably isn't going to come along because she doesn't want anyone to see her and think that, and have it get back to Voyage that she's looking into the winery in any way.
Okay. Bál, you walked me there when I went, so did you want to come? Or stay with Ellory?
Yeah, Bál will come along with you guys.
Okay.
So the three of us will go and talk to them.
Okay. You guys go in searching for them. So you're going to Gregory?
Yeah, or Malfira, whichever one of them I can find.
Okay. Do you have a preference?
I don't.
Okay. This one's closer, so you'll go to that one. So you go into the Kincross district, where you see similar to Melly's house, and where it's not quite a manor, but it's definitely a better home than any of the standard homes. It's definitely kind of upper middle class home. You see, it looks like there's a sort of an office attached to the bottom. As you walk to the side, there's no courtyard, but there is kind of a garden outside.
I will head to the door and knock politely.
Okay. A couple seconds later, a woman opens the door. Looks like half elf or human with some elven ancestry, female, in her early 40s. Yes, what can I do for you?
Oh, hi. I was hoping to talk to Gregory.
Gregory, of course. Are you? She kind of gestures you in, opening the door. Are you here for paintings? Are you inquiring?
Actually, he and I were contacts before I left Embershore a few years back, and I was just hoping to catch up and see how business was.
Of course, yeah, just this way. And she kind of guides you into the home, into a office, sort of. It looks like an office that's been converted into like a painting studio. There's paintings all on easels and leaned against the wall. Some have sheets over it. Room. And inside you see Gregory. Aged, looks old, more worse for wear than you remember him a few years ago. You see him kind of dressed down, some paint on his shirt and pants, as he's kind of inspecting with an eyepiece, a piece of art. I met you at the winery.
Yes, Vesper.
Vesper, of course. Gregory, pleasure to see you again. Are you looking for some pieces of art, perhaps?
Possibly. We were actually here asking about the winery.
Oh, well.
Back in town, and thought I'd just see how things were. Perhaps try again. I know my last visit there was a bit awkward.
It was, yes. Things are fine with the winery. I'm going there this evening, actually.
Has anything changed? Is it... I want to be prepared this time so I don't make a fool of myself again.
Well, as things went last time, I wouldn't be my place to reach out a second time, of course. But you should absolutely look into perhaps stopping by, at some point. Nothing's changed. It's perhaps changed for the better.
Oh, how so?
Just some innovations. The big hole is gone, and some good things. Yes.
Good. So it's still as exclusive as ever, I'm imagining.
Yes, of course, as these things go.
How would one acquire an invitation?
Donation, so to speak. The winery would get you to the more exclusive lounge in the cellar below. That is one way. Gold is always welcome, but gifts are particularly well received. Art, statues, jewelry, that sort of thing. That is how, and he kind of gestures to his the painting spine. That is, of course, how I gained access myself.
Of course.
I do wish you the best of luck. If you are interested in some art, I do have some more modest pieces currently.
I look at the boys. I suppose we've got time to browse.
Of course, and he begins a spiel on describing all of this art. It's actually quite good. It's clearly not done by him.
Mm-hmm. I'll look as interested as I can.
Okay. He eventually picks that up and kind of wraps it up. Anyway, I do wish you the best of luck with it. If you do gain access, I will buy you a drink.
I'll try and see you there then.
Of course.
And we'll leave.
Yes, out the door, please.
Yes.
Thank you. Quite good seeing you. And he kind of gestures you, shoos you out, and closes the door.
Okay. Well, at least we have an idea of how to get our foot in the door.
Mm-hmm. You won't have to worry about me. I can get myself in quite easily, actually.
I always worry about you, though.
I know. Yes, but I can get myself in. So
okay.
We have at least one person able to get in. So.
Okay, and that's of course if we need to get in. I can try talking to Malfira while we're here, and see if maybe she can get us an invite. Otherwise, I think we're going to have to try and figure out what gifts we can give.
Indeed. I don't think I want to be the only person in there.
No, I don't think that at all.
Yeah, no, at least one other person would be nice. Maybe a couple. That would be good.
I'd like us all to go together.
Yeah, that could be good. And then we could all split up perhaps a little bit, look around a little, get lost in the crowd.
You can try.
I'll try, yes.
All right, to Malfira.
In the sake of time, you approach her as well and get a similar kind of disregarding response, essentially. Best of luck, but I can't help you kind of thing.
Yeah, I have an 8 charisma.
You kind of showed up at the fancy party and spilled a bunch of drinks, and then
basically,
and no one wants to invite you again. But
yeah, can since we're talking to what's her name, Malfira,
mm-hmm.
while we're talking to her, I guess Amsen will say, please, Vesper would like to make reparations for what happened last time. It was quite embarrassing, but she wishes to try off on a fresh start again.
Actually, give me a persuasion check. Just a straight roll.
I'm gonna use luck. Yeah, boy. So what was a 7 is now a 19. So that's a 31.
I've used my +1, but I could try at the door to get her in. You might have better luck than I, actually. You've done shows there, correct?
Well, yeah, on occasion. I guess I could. I didn't know that it came with a +1, but if that's the case, then absolutely.
I would be glad to meet you at the door, of course, for the showman as yourself. But you may have better luck yourself. I will be arriving shortly after sundown. You can meet me there if you need me. Otherwise, I think you would do quite well on your own.
Very well. Well, we'll see how many people we can get in the door. That's the large question, of course.
Well, I will see you there.
I'll see you there as well.
Okay.
Well, that's inconvenient timing, but all right. Do you think the Rothburns are allowed there? Do you think they go?
Perhaps not.
I can make a suggestion, Let's go somewhere a little fancier. Where you deserve it.
I think it's invite only, to be perfectly honest.
Well, maybe... I don't know, you can make me your +1 and charm our way in. Oh, please let me bring my dashing covenant date.
We could. What about your meeting with Rothburn?
Yeah, no, I know. That's about the same time as this invitation.
Exactly. So I guess the question is, do we want to try to cover 2 things at the same time and I bring somebody else, or do you want to ditch that and come with me?
What I want to do, and what we probably should do, are, I think, very different. Let's talk to the others and see what they think.
All right. Sounds like a good idea.
At the very least, you'll have someone else with you, which makes me feel a lot better. Maybe you can get Bál in that way, since that might be tough.
Okay. So, after that, I presume y'all had set to meet back at the Copper Sale after some time. Bál, did Bál go with someone?
Yeah, Bál went with them. I just didn't have anything to say.
I just wanted to make sure you weren't doing, I don't know, murdering someone or something. So we'll say after these 2 recon meetings, you guys meet back at the Copper Sale. Mogthur and Brett are now up and kind of cleaning the bar, hauling in new kegs and all that, and are able to meet in. There's otherwise no patrons in the bar.
All right.
Have I heard anything from Mogthur about him getting in touch with his contacts?
When he woke up, or after you got back, not yet. I'll send something soon. He's kind of rubbing his temple.
Yeah, can I talk to Lysander actually before we head all the way down to the sale and see if he's heard from anyone?
You briefly stopped by and he hasn't heard anything back yet, but he's sent a runner.
Cool.
All right, I will fill everyone in on what I saw in the brain of Lady Death. So I think that is a significant problem, and based on what she was talking about, we've got 2 more parties before the town goes to hell. They talked about using some kind of orbs for power to do some kind of big arcane ritual. So I think that's our little event that your friend Voyage was discussing. So they're in cahoots. And I think this winery is or at least this Mr. Belvedere, whoever he is, may be behind it.
So, how do you think these objects that Voyage wants me to retrieve for him fit into all of this? Maybe they're what they're making at the winery? If they're able to siphon arcane power?
Out of character question, something about them being ruined, was that in character? Do we know that? Or was that an out of character thing?
That was in character. Voyage said that to Ellory. Ellory would have definitely let you in on that detail.
My best conjecture is that there's something necessary for the ritual. It can't happen at its time unless they have this object. I think returning it to them will be a very bad idea.
And you said that she knows that you looked into her mind.
Yeah, I probably could have done it more subtly, but it was easier to push in at the time when she was already thinking about it so closely. I don't know that I would have gotten as much as I did if I didn't risk it.
Ella's very, very ticked off with Felix right now because she thinks she might have lost a client, and they had invitations, which are probably no longer good, and she didn't know exactly what it was she was doing, so she's just kind of like glowering at him.
Everyone go ahead and make an intelligence check as you are filling each other in and sharing information and thinking about the current situation.
Ooh, 8.
Ooh.
11.
18.
19.
21.
10. I rolled real bad.
So
I got plus 400.
So I think I heard Amsen and Elle had pretty high.
Ball had 18.
Oh, Ball did too? Okay. So Amsen, Elle, and Ball, as Felix is kind of telling you about things and Elle is describing these orbs that she mentions, you three kind of clicks in your head about the holiday that occurs in Halloween's about a little over a month away.
The Festival of Orbs. I was about to ask if there were any significant dates coming up in the next 6 weeks or so.
So that clicks with y'all. And you also know, everyone besides maybe Felix, anyone from Embershore knows that anyone anywhere knows the Festival of Orbs. These orbs kind of appear where people have perished. These glowing orbs, and they kind of drift towards their home before fading away. Sometimes when they get there, sometimes before, if it's far away. Embershore specifically has a lot of those orbs that come up from the bay. Thousands. Normally, it's just a few here and there. Embershore, there is a huge concentration of orbs. Apparently, a lot of people died in this location sometime in the past.
Have I mentioned yet how fucked up your town is?
Oh, you don't have to say it. We all know.
I don't think it's wise for us to wait until the festival. We will have to do something now, especially if they are aware that uninvited guests are probing.
I'm with Ball. I think we take care of this as soon as possible. If they're doing what I saw her doing, then if we bring out proof, your covenant will understand.
That's a big assumption.
Yeah, Ellory just has a very skeptical look on her face at that.
Vesper, weren't you talking about, I don't know, swaying the son of the captain of the guard? You can't get his eyes on the fact that they are poisoning society with fiend blood, are planning a magical revolution that will annihilate half the town, and use the souls of the dead to do it? You don't think that they're going to have a problem with this?
I think they're going to have a big problem with it. I don't know if they'll do anything if they're getting paid well enough.
Well, then,
but I can ask him. Do you want me to tell him all of this? Because I can.
No, I think we should go and get proof now.
Okay.
Paul, did you want to say something?
I agree. I think that we can't rely on others. We need to rely on ourselves. Time is ticking. Maybe we should crash the party.
So, we get proof from the winery? Do we want to try and get these items that they have confiscated under Rothburn Rook, or leave that be?
I think if we're going to expose them, we get the proof from the winery, lead them to the box, and then we have everything we need to take down the other half of this.
All right. So, in that case, we need to find a way to get more than just 1 or 2 people into the party tonight. How do we go about doing that?
Did you hear anything from Mogthur?
He hasn't been able to get in touch with his contacts yet.
I don't have very discreet methods of... I would make a lot of noise.
Do we want to wait for the party, or do we want to try and get in before?
I think we should get in before. As soon as we can, right?
Then now's as good a time as any.
Who's been inside?
Amsen quietly raises his hand.
So does Vesper.
Would I have been inside?
I think you would have, yeah.
Okay. Then Elle raises her hand too.
It's probably not open or busy during the day, so how do we get in, and do any of you know at least where the entrance to this cellar might be? I imagine whatever is beneath the cellar is what we need to get to.
I was blindfolded when I went in, so I looked to Amsen and Elle.
Would I have seen any of the backstage areas where guests aren't allowed because I performed there?
Yeah, you would have. You do enter in through the standard route. Most people would be blindfolded. So you kind of enter into the winery, which has its own kind of basement cellar vibe. And then there's one kind of room separated by a curtain where people will take you, blindfold you, and then take you down further. They always take you a different route, it seems, though similar in distance. Since you were there, you've been there multiple times.
And did they blindfold me every time?
They did, yeah.
Okay. Well, I've been there quite a few times, actually. And they did blindfold me, but I think I paid attention. I mean, it's been a while, keep in mind. But I think I did pay attention enough to be able to figure some sort of route to get there.
Sorry, a while back, Vesper said that she sensed something underneath there. Is that right? So in character, Bál will say, Vesper, maybe if you can sense where the problem is, we can follow that feeling once we're in.
Yeah, I can certainly try that. I did. Okay, good. Yeah, I could definitely do that. Try and find where I'm meant to go.
Well, this isn't subtle, but do we just break in through the front door of the winery and try and find our way through the secret path? We can maybe find some way to block the door behind us. I have a trick or two.
Stitches, you said something about some tricks for disguising us?
Right. I can make you all, similar to how I disguise myself, I can change all of you to look however you want, but I can't really change your size all that much, so Bál might be difficult, but if you could think of something that wouldn't cause attention for a whole group to go in at once, I can make us look like anything.
Maybe...
Ellory, are you capable of shrinking Bál still?
Yes, for not very long at a time, but for a little bit.
Well, then we could probably disguise as staff.
That's what I was thinking. If we look like we work at the winery, we could go in maybe a couple at a time, rather than as a big group, meet up and go from there.
There's an event tonight. It makes sense they'd hire more staff. Okay.
Sounds like a good enough plan to me.
So
Well, just to clarify, what is the goal that we're doing here? Are we fact finding?
Miss Forrester, darling, I feel like we should warn you that things are probably about to get messy. I believe that your partner is likely in holding because of these people, and we are going to do whatever we can to stop them. murder tends to happen when people in power need to let go of it. So I'm just saying, if you are worried, perhaps you maybe change us and stay behind. It's perfectly fine.
Well, at least go long to get you in. We'll see after that.
Also, fair warning, this associate of yours could already be dead, or he could be working with them.
Fair enough. Elle has some thinking to do while you guys discuss.
So we go into staff. I cast Detect Good and Evil and find the aberration. We follow it and destroy it, or are we, again, just gathering evidence? It should be abundantly clear what our goal is.
We at least need to gather evidence. If we have an opportunity to disrupt what they're doing, I say we take it while we have a chance. As long as that doesn't prevent us from having evidence to give. Because we do need our name cleared in all of this.
All right. Sounds like we have a plan and goal.
Okay. So it sounds like you guys are going to go to the Warm Garden District, to the winery, somehow using spells or magic, pose as staff, enter in, and then look for this device. Does that about sum it up?
Yep.
Okay. So you guys begin to head towards the district. Quiet, you see the patrolling Covenant. It seems like the Covenant in this district they're better dressed, their tabards are nicer, they're just higher quality. They don't look as much as thugs, they look like kind of a private militia. Again, you see the gardens and the mosaics and the statues and the emberstones used as streetlights as you see the entrance to the winery. This large door with a sort of overhang to cover from the rain, and then kind of holding up that overhang at the front is a giant, 22 feet tall, give or take, statue. The center chest is of gold. You see a few staff members coming and going in just simple button-down white shirts and black pants, and coming and going, gathering, carrying cases, goods, and such.
Before we get too close, I'm going to pull out that magical perfume I have. I'm going to spritz myself with it, and then I'm going to turn to Felix and go, "You're going to hate this, but it'll help, trust me." And I'm going to spritz him as well. And that gives us advantage on charisma checks.
Okay. So you've used the perfume. What other preparations before you begin to move in?
Hey, Stitches.
That's me.
Are you coming along with us?
I'll come along with you as far as I can. I'm not sure how much help I will be with the kind of work you do after this, but I'll follow along as long as I can.
I'm gonna just reach up and pat her shoulder.
Aw, thanks. Alright, so are we gonna do this? Alright, and I will cast Seeming. So, if everyone is willing, it just happens. So, you all basically have disguise self on you, but you now look like servants, the waiters. Did you want me to change your faces and stuff?
Absolutely.
Yes, for sure.
Yes.
All right.
Make us look boring.
Did we shrink Ball?
I think probably best to wait to shrink him until right before going in. Especially if we're not going in all at the same time. Maybe he and I should go in at the same time. Ooh, only 1 minute? Yeah, that's less than ideal, but...
Well, for right now, Ball is a 10-foot waiter. And
I have a character. One suggestion is we could just be like, get 2 people to get approved to go in, and then the 2 people are all like, all right, staff, let's go. And then 8 more people appear.
Or open a back door.
I'm sure. I mean, that makes much more sense, but...
different kind of sense. All right, well, you guys are like that for 8 hours.
So through Stitches, Elle, you all are in disguise as waiters. Your faces changed. What's the next step?
Ellory, Amsen, why don't you try and get inside Is there a back door to this place? I feel like there was an alley at some point. See if maybe they can get to that door and let us in.
Amsen, you would know about that entrance. That it kind of, you don't have to walk through the entire winery.
I know that I'm a good choice to go in if we want to, keep things low key, but I also need to be close enough to make Bál smaller.
I mean, if we're just bringing him in through the back door, then we might not have to. But if someone else, perhaps Miss Forrester, I've seen her. She's a quick wit.
Sorry, I got distracted. Was that a question towards me?
Do you want to go in with Amsen and see if you can help us get to the back door open?
Sure. Did our discussion time earlier count as a short rest or not?
Yeah, y'all could have taken a short rest. Yeah.
Okay.
Y'all had a lot of time of not exerting a lot of energy.
Okay, yes. I definitely can go in with Amsen. With the reminder that I'm very persuasive, but I'm not a good liar.
Okay, so Elle and Amsen, you guys are you approaching the main entrance or that side sort of servants entrance?
Whichever makes the most sense for us as disguised servants to go in.
Yeah. Amsen, you usually entered in that side entrance just because it's quicker. You don't have to go through a whole crowd. So you go over to the side entrance, which is kind of to the side through an alleyway on the side of the building. There is one private guard, clearly not a Covenant, in kind of a big turtleneck, this big burly individual who's not quite Bál's height, but is nearly Bál's height, with dark gray skin, tattoos over his head and forearms, who kind of is leaned against the wall in a black turtleneck. Kind of looks like Steve Jobs. He has these glasses that are a little too small for his face. He has big muscular arms folded as he looks over to you. You're preparing for the party.
Aye, that'd be correct.
You know the word. So, Amsen, you would know there's typically a password to enter into the side.
Okay.
You would know the last one, but it was 2 years ago.
Okay. What was the last one?
Purple Marvelous.
Okay. Yeah, I'm just going to say Purple Marvelous.
Give me a persuasion check.
Okay. Let's see how this goes. Nat 20.
That's an old one. New one's Sordid T. But yeah, go on in. And he turns and opens the door and lets you in.
Right, of course. Thank you, kind sir.
Closes it behind. This hallway kind of leads down. There's kind of an entrance into the back bar of the winery, which is like sort of the first level of the bar. And then there's also a staircase down not a staircase, it leads over to that room where there is a staircase where you're led down blindfolded.
All right. So once we are in a place where I recognize, I'll kind of show Elle around what I know and just make sure that that her and I are both oriented properly to where we are in the winery in relation to what she is familiar with. And then we look for a way to get the rest of the party in.
Okay. So there's the main door and the side door as far as you know.
Okay. Oh, actually, I have one of Felix's bags, right?
Yeah. I think Elle has one too.
I'll just telepathically tell Felix the password.
All right. There's a passcode to get into the back door. If Ellory takes Bál quickly through, perhaps we can all do it in a couple groups.
That sounds good.
How many of us are there left? It's just me, Ellory, and Bál? And Vesper. Ooh, okay. Well,
but we do have advantage on all of our checks.
Ellory and Bál, hopefully Ellory can get them through, and then Vesper and I.
So you're going to do in 2 groups, Ellory and Bál, then y'all 2?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. As you're going through, give me either deception or performance checks.
Okay. And as
just to keep just the perfumed people, so just Vesper and Felix.
We have advantage on that.
And when we approach, right before I cast Reduce on Bál, I will tell him, we don't have a lot of time, so as soon as you're small, we need to hustle.
Okay.
So instead of getting disadvantage ball, you just get a straight roll.
Okay, and you said it's either deception or performance?
Yeah, just to kind of walk, keep cool. You guys are dressed, so...
A nat 20 for me, so 28 total.
Okay. Ball?
Natural 1 for Ball.
Did you do your goals?
I did, but you have to say it before you roll.
Oh.
That seems... okay.
So natural 20 and a natural 1. So what ball was your total?
That's a 4.
Jesus. Okay. So Ellory reduces you. You become 5 foot suddenly. Similar strange proportions as you guys come around the corner, walk up to the door. Ellory says Sork's tea. He opens it and then sees Ball, this strange, like, giant-like features, but he's only 5 foot. It's like, is this a dwarf? He's too tall. What are you?
I'm the help.
Give me a deception check, Ball. The what? He and I are both speechless at that strange voice that came from Ball.
I'm assuming I can just pretend my voice changes when I shrink this much. So
Sure.
That was an 11 deception.
Can I don't know if this is going to do much, but I would like to bend luck to give him a 1d4 bonus to that.
Okay, Ball, roll a 1d4.
It's 13 total.
Okay. You see he kind of has put his hand on your shoulder and is going to step slightly in front of you. Ellory, you're in the hallway. You're able to get through.
Okay, if I'm already in the hallway and he has his back towards me, then I want to be ready to cast Reduce again before it wears off.
Okay, so you have that kind of prepared if you need to. I've never seen nothing like you before. You from the Dorman Canton up there, up north?
Yes, that's where I'm from.
He kind of cracks his neck and kind of leans down over you a bit. He's like 8'4" and kind of leans down over you. I had some running with you folk in my youth. Things didn't go too well for them. You here to cause any trouble?
We're here to get some work done. Could you let us get to our jobs, please?
He kind of looks over his shoulder back at you. Fine. You cause any trouble like your folk do, I'll be here. He kind of releases Ball's shoulder and lets you walk in. You roll a 2.
Under Ball's breath, he's like, that was a close call. That was a close call. I don't know how to whisper with that voice, so...
So Ellory and Ball, you guys enter into the hallway. A few seconds later, Ball becomes 10 foot tall, head scraping the ceiling once more. As go and roll performance or deception checks for Vesper and Felix at advantage as you guys come through.
The 19 for Felix.
That's really bad. Please be better. Oh, that's so good. Okay, 17 for Vesper.
Yeah, no problem. You guys walk through, enter in, and eventually after a couple minutes, you guys are all able to reconvene just outside of that hallway. And you're basically in the room where they would blindfold you and take you downstairs. You can see the curtain towards the winery and then the door towards the stairwell. There is a guard, another one private guard posted beside that door, ready with blindfolds. But y'all could be in the hallway before exiting.
All right, where do we go from here?
So I'll tell them, those who haven't been here before, that generally we're ushered into that room or whatever, and then we're blindfolded, and then we're taken down. I don't know if we're going to be blindfolded since we're working here, technically. Although we can find out.
And do I need to make Ball smaller again?
More than likely.
Okay.
Well, at this point, he's inside.
I'm already in.
Right, he's already in, and that would have been cleared with the guard, so...
Possibly we could convince this one.
Maybe we should have made you look like one of that guard's people.
Can the disguise be modified, or is it just when you do it?
I am checking that. It says the spell lasts for the duration unless I dismiss it sooner. It just says this spell allows you to change the appearance of any number of creatures you can see within range. I give the target you choose, but I'm guessing that might be just at the time of casting.
I don't see it specified, so I would presume at the time of casting.
Yeah.
Well, missed opportunity. Know for next time. I presume that whatever we're looking for is going to be beyond the place that they make everybody go through blindfold, or possibly down a different route in there. Honestly, I think we just knock out the guard and go do our job.
Okay, do you want me to do that?
Probably.
I'm not opposed to that method.
Just keep it quiet.
And sans murder, if possible.
That would be good too. We don't want to actually go to jail.
Can I try to convince him that we can just pass by first?
Bál loosens his grip on his maul.
And you can, trust me, you can get the first hit as soon as things go bad.
Okay.
Alright, so I'll walk up to the guard and try to sell that we're all staff again.
Alright. Hey, heading down.
Yeah, we're heading down. This is everybody.
Alright. He reaches off to the side, and there's a little rope. He kind of rings it, pulls the rope down. You hear a bell ringing. A few seconds pass before another individual in very fine, dark clothing, a vest, white button down, black tie, halfling individual. Yes, staff, of course, heading to the cellar for tonight's preparations.
Yes, indeed.
Of course. Give me a deception check.
Certainly.
I'll say at advantage because you're all dressed as waiters and have gotten this far in without any trouble.
Okay, so that's not bad, but I'm going to use luck anyways. That is not great, so I'm going to go with the 19 total.
Okay. Of course, one moment, and he reaches into the doorway and starts pulling out some pieces of cloth. Please tie these around your head. Is he security? Pointing towards Bál.
He's the one that deals with all the heavy objects. He's our muscle.
Sure, okay. Just tie those around those for me, around your faces. Good, great. Presuming you do so. This way, if you would clasp hands, it is the easiest way to do this. Wonderful. This way. And he takes, I presume, Amsen, who's in the front, and guides you through the door. You hear it click behind you before you begin to go down some spiral staircases. You go down for a number of minutes before you flatten out. You then go in a series of straight left, right, right, left, left, right, left, right, stop, reverse, U-turn, left.
Can stopping. I possibly make an intelligence check to try and remember?
Yeah, give me a straight intelligence check.
I'm kind of trying to do the same thing, though. I think I'll have less luck than Felix.
Probably.
Okay. Yeah, everyone can go and roll an intelligence check.
Great, because Felix rolled a natural 1.
I rolled a 19.
14.
22.
Okay.
Hell yeah.
Dirty 20.
Dirty 20, okay. So you guys have a pretty general sense of where you guys are. You guys didn't head too far. So you have a vague sense of, like, basically you went into this area and eventually ended up about 150 feet northeast of where you entered into whatever room this was, roughly. You took a lot of turns and whatever to get there, but you eventually ended up there. You hear clicking, something opening. Okay, watch your don't watch your step, but feet up, yes, and kind of guide you up to step up into creaking wood. This way, good, and continue forward until you all are guided forward. Okay, wait here. You hear another clicking behind. Okay, take off your blindfolds, please, and hand them to me. Wonderful. I'm not sure where you're needed. The bar is over there. The kitchen is in the back. The stage is beyond that. I will take these. Thank you.
And as we remove the blindfold, do we see anyone else around?
Looking around, you see a dimly lit, swanky bar. You smell like incense of rosemary in the air. You see little, instead of little teacup candles, you see little shards of emberstones that are used to give a very dim light ambiance to the area. You see a bar to the right, a couple tables to the left, a stage down some stairs beyond that into sort of a lowered area. You do see a number of people dressed as yourselves, servants, moving around. This person that's taking the cloths from you is the only one that looks different from the rest. You do see a number of, as you're looking around, guards in those black turtlenecks standing around leaning against the wall, just kind of watching. All right, well, I presume you've already gotten your instructions. The kegs all need to be refilled. If you have any questions, seek me out. I'm going back upstairs. And he takes the cloths and heads up. And
Sorry,
opens
what
the door.
was your name, sir? We didn't catch that.
Servant Lorethan.
Thank you.
Of course. And he leaves, kind of leaving you guys in this swanky bar devoid of people except for some waiters who are moving kegs and chairs and tablecloths and such around.
Well, that wasn't so hard.
Thank you very much. I don't think we would have gotten in without your help.
So I think at Felix, maybe we should move a couple of kegs just to establish ourselves, get the layout a little bit better before we figure out where we need to go next.
Is it clear where these kegs are, or was it in the other room?
It's clear. Yeah, there's some kegs that have just been placed in the middle of the room that some people are moving behind the bar.
So Bál will kind of nod to that and start approaching the keg. And as he does, Bál wants to cast Divine Sense. So at the end of my next turn, I know the location of any celestial, fiend, or undead within 60 feet of you that is not behind total cover. I also detect the presence of any place or object that has been consecrated or desecrated, as with the Hallow spell.
You don't sense any entity. You do sense something that sends a shiver up your spine. Something desecrated below, almost directly below you.
So maybe as Bál starts taking those steps towards the keg and gets that shiver, he'll stop, turn around, return to the party and say, kind of under his breath, whatever it is, it's down below.
Elle will use her Eldritch Sight to cast Detect Magic.
Okay. You detect all of the magical items that the group has. You detect little pings of magic coming from those emberstones that are just dimly glowing light, nothing much from them. You do detect magic. What's the range on that? 30 feet, I think? Okay. You detect a strange magic coming from up ahead and to the right. And Vesper, you recognize this is where the hole was in the wall. The circular hole has now been filled with like a greenish glass, kind of like a Jaeger bottle, a glass. And Elle, you detect magic coming from the glass itself. You see you can't see through it. It looks mirrored almost. You can see your reflections in it.
As this is happening, I am just going to think at Felix. Could you remind the others to try and communicate through the bags and not out loud?
Sure. And I will pass Ellery's note along. And as they're doing, aimlessly, polish something so I look like I'm useful.
I'll think very hard at Felix that there's some weird magic vibe coming out of the green glass up there to the right.
For the sake of things, we'll just say it takes a little longer, but we can talk. Well, yeah. Go ahead, Bál.
Oh, I was just going to say, Bál goes and does the keg stuff.
Yeah, I will, as we're talking things out through thought, if I see somebody doing something with tablecloths or putting out table settings or that sort of thing, because I don't think I'm going to be very useful at the kegs, but I just want to look busy.
Easy enough for you guys all to find something mundane to do. No one's really caring that you're what you're doing.
Before I move as I'm moving into the full room, I'm going to find something to do with my hands so I can cast Detect Good and Evil. Kind of maybe direct a question, or look like I'm directing a question to Amsen or something, and cast a spell.
Okay, and what's the range on that?
That is 30 feet, but the last time I was here, it did pick up the aberration above me.
Okay.
Yeah. For the duration, up to 10 minutes. You know if there's an aberration, celestial, elemental, fey, fiend, or undead within 30 feet of you, as well as where the creature is located. Similarly, you know if there's a place or object within 30 feet of you that has been magically consecrated or desecrated. Spell can penetrate most barriers, is blocked by 1 foot of stone, 1 inch of common metal, thin sheet of lead, or 3 feet of wood or dirt.
Okay. With the parameters of the spell, say you pick up a aberrant presence below, but you detect a desecration below, but no aberrant presence. It's strange you reach your mind out, but almost that part is almost blocked.
I think through the bag, they may have moved the aberration. It's not where it was last time. I could pick it up last time I was here.
That might mean that it's a person or a creature moving around, or they found some way to mask it. Do we think our goal is near that magic hole?
I think our goal is probably beneath us.
Well,
down there, yeah.
If we can find a corner to get aside, I can make someone invisible to go look around, maybe get a sense of where we get down, or how we get down there.
Yeah, that seems like a good idea.
Why don't you all give me an investigation check? As you're kind of pretending to do stuff, looking around, getting a lay of the land, so to speak, of the different rooms.
Investigation.
Ooh,
15
for Ball.
18.
13.
Did Paul say 7?
17 for Ball, sorry.
Okay.
9 for Felix.
Okay. So you guys are kind of pretending to do stuff, moving around. Vesper, Ellory, and Ball, or you guys all understand there's kind of this cellar bar. There's kind of a lowered area where there's a few more tables, and there's that stage where you can watch something. You see a few people coming and going, and looks like there's another lounge type area beyond the stage, kind of quiet alcoves. And you also notice behind the bar there's more storage for kegs and barrels and stuff like that. And then there's a doorway that's been open and closed a few times where there seems to be more storage below. So those are the kind of the rooms you're getting, kind of the main cellar, some lounge area, backstage, and then a storage area.
I'm thinking the storage area might be a good place to start.
Certainly shouldn't be too obvious, so sounds good.
So you're going to investigate the storage area? Okay. All of you, or just you, or?
Maybe Ball would volunteer to go, since he could be the one that's going there to move something. Pick up something heavy.
Well, if we want Felix to cast invisibility, and I'm probably the best at being quiet, so maybe the two of us are the best options?
I can only invisible one of you. Amsen has many more spell slots than me to do the bigger ones, so I'm going to save that.
I think Amsen has it. He would be willing. Yeah, he could do that. If that's what you guys want, he could cast invisible.
I think maybe just one to start to look around, especially to look for a way further down.
All right, I'll find a corner that Ellory and I are out of sight, invisible her, and let her try and poke around.
Okay. Roll an investigation check then for Ellory. Is Ball going with you? Is he invisible? What is Amsen being told to do?
Yeah, I think Ball will ask, do you want Ball to go there visibly as someone that's just moving stuff around, and you're kind of...
Yeah, to open the doors, and I can sneak through while he has a door open, that kind of thing.
Yeah. So maybe if you're cool with that, we do that, and Ball just goes as if he's looking for more kegs.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So Ball kind of goes down, looks like he's looking for more kegs. Ellory, give me an investigation check. And I guess, Ball, you can...
Yeah, can I help? Can I just help Ellory with that, since, and then I can just communicate, hey, there's something interesting here?
Sure. How do you want to help? Do you want to, conjure fire to make it easier to see, or how does Ball help?
More of, when we get into the storage room, if Ball's looking on one end of the room and just notices anything to kind of draw Ellory's attention to it. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Unless you just want Ball to roll regularly and just tell Ellory.
That's your call. Ellory can roll at advantage or separate.
That would be very helpful, because all of my intelligence rolls are just straight rolls.
Mine's a -1, so do it.
Okay. That's an 18.
Okay. You look around the storage room. You see a number of crates, barrels. There's a few large vats on the side of the room. With an 18, I'll say you notice that there's a strange lack of... There's dust that's over most of the stuff. Looks like it's not moved very often. You do notice that there's less dust around one of the vats in particular. It's kind of large wooden vat on its side. This is basically a huge barrel. It's like 10 foot in diameter.
Okay, so I'm going to focus my attention there and see if I notice any kind of hidden entrances or
Give me another roll.
Any sign of what might be going on.
Yeah, give me another roll here.
Okay, I really hope my luck holds up here.
You still have inspiration, I think, from the goals, if you haven't used that, or have you?
Yeah, if you want to burn it.
You know what? Since I do have another source of getting advantage when I need it, I'm going to go ahead and use that inspiration. This seems like a good time for it.
And you guys would presumably getting a new one every session, so you might as well burn it in the session. Okay, so roll with advantage.
That's good to know. I wanted to ask about that, but forgot. Okay, that is a 16.
Okay. Looking around at the vat, you don't see any like lever or anything like that searching around. So it's like a big vat. I will say you knock on it and it sounds hollow, so it's empty. Big empty barrel.
Is there anyone else currently down, or are we? Did we go downstairs?
It's just y'all two.
Just
yeah,
us.
y'all are in like a sub cellar. Yeah, just y'all.
So if I see you knocking on it, maybe Ball will communicate through Felix and say, "Screw it. She needs some help with that."
Do I see an obvious way to open it up?
With the vat?
Mm-hmm.
No. I don't see any obvious way to open anything.
Then I will communicate back. Yeah, I need to see if there's a way to get in here. I think this might be hiding something.
Ball will do what big strong men do and go lift something and move it somewhere else. So Ball will try to go and move this vat if possible.
Okay. Give me an athletics check.
Ball might as well use his inspiration here. Because why not? So, 11?
You
can help much?
Yeah, you throw your shoulder into it. The wood creaks a little bit, but nothing moves.
I'll communicate and ask if maybe Ellory could give Ball a hand.
I will employ my tiny, tiny muscles to try and help him out.
Does Ball get a second try on this?
Yeah, but at disadvantage this time, since you just did it.
Alright. Disadvantage. It's a 14.
Okay. The wood creaks a little bit, and you hear kind of something scraping, and you look to the side, and it looks like the vat meets the wall, and it looks like some stone is kind of falling loose from it. Nothing breaks or opens, but you see, a little bit of pebbles and rock kind of run loose where the vat meets the wall.
I think we need to go into the vat. I think there might be an entrance from inside it that leads to the other side of that wall.
So getting that, Ball will see. Is there a way to open this vat? Or, get inside of it?
Ellory looked around and didn't see any lever or anything like that. Didn't see any obvious or non-obvious way to get into it.
So, question about this vat. Is it there's no sign of, any kind of cap or...
No.
Huh.
Is it dark in here? In this...
Yeah, it's dark.
Okay, Ball's going to get a little frustrated, and since the room is empty, Ball's going to do something a little different. I don't know how it looks since we're all disguised, but Ball's going to kind of flex his bicep and turn on that crown so that it lights up the room. I think it basically works like light, where it's 20 feet, bright light in 20-foot radius and dim for 20 feet beyond that. And then just start looking around harder to see if we've missed something and kind of communicate. We must have missed something.
Okay. So is that crown on your head or on your arm?
It's on my arm.
Okay, so this band crown around his arm burst into flames, lighting up the area. As you begin to look around, Felix, Stitches, Vesper, Amsen, you guys do anything up top or just waiting?
would the storage room they were in be within the 30 feet I am in, so that if my detect magic was still up, that I would feel it, or would I have to wander over them there to test out the detect magic in that area?
You'd need to wander over a little closer.
Okay, then I would be doing that if they're communicating that they're having difficulties.
Yeah. Wandering over there, you don't notice nothing pings as you get closer, nothing different.
Okay, I pass that along. I'm also sucking on a lemon drop very vigorously because I'm nervous.
If they're still having trouble, Felix will find an excuse to go down to the storage room and at his eyes see if there's, I don't know. Sure. I'm going to go over to the wall where the pebbles were getting loose, see if there's any kind of hinge or crack or anything.
Yeah, coming over to the wall, it looks like the vat isn't just butted up against the wall, it goes into the wall. There's a hole there, and the vat backs up all the way into it.
Can we spin it?
Roll?
No, does the vat spin? And I'm imagining one of those library doors that the bookshelf spins. Maybe it's like that, and we just have to spin it. Probably not, based on your confusion.
You push on it a little bit, it doesn't seem to spin there. You can roll an investigation check, you and Ball, if you want to look further. But you do notice that this vat, unlike the vat next to it, goes into the wall.
Okay. Investigation. Okay, that's better. That is a 21.
Okay. Ball?
That's a 2 for Ball.
Okay. So, Ball, you're looking over at the edge of the wall, trying to peek through a crack that you can't quite look through. Felix, you look around the perimeter of the vat, feeling along the edges. You actually feel along and feel a loose board. You can kind of, as you pull it over, you hear a bit of a clicking sound. You can see the glint of something metallic, like a hinge or something inside of that loose board, just through the crack.
I will open up the board and pull it, push it, whatever I need to make it work.
Okay, so you lift it, you hear a clicking noise, and you hear the front part of the vat kind of hinges open a little bit. You kind of take your fingers and pull it, and Ball helps, and eventually the whole front of the vat opens up, and you see it's a 10-foot diameter wooden vat that goes about 15 feet before you see stone and dirt and a door.
See, I fucking knew it.
A port cutlass there. You can see through it wrought iron. You can see what looks like a tunnel and then stairs.
Stairs up or stairs down?
Down.
Great.
Let's get the others down here, maybe one at a time.
Yep. I think we're getting close.
So you guys can easy enough come down one by one. No one's really watching that closely. And you've kind of gathered and can see inside this vat and this wrought iron port cutlass. There is a keyhole on the door.
Miss Forrester, is there any magic that I should be aware of?
I sense very hard in the direction of the door. Do I feel any magic?
No magic.
All right, I try and unlock the door.
Fine, you can do it if you want.
Roll a lucky boy check.
I am peering over his shoulder as he's doing this, judging him.
21.
Okay. You use your picks quickly, twisting it to the side, hitting in the teeth or whatever they're called, clicking, and you hear it unlock.
You're not bad with those.
I've had many, many years of practice.
Voyage taught me how to use mine.
Well, I'll maybe give you a few pointers as we're on our travels.
Thank you and fuck you.
Yeah, that sounds about right. Shall we?
So, Felix, as you push open the door, you hear a breaking of glass above the doorway as it's pushed open. As you hear these fumes kind of drop out of this trap. So, definitely sounds like Ellory and Felix are up front, and then who's the next up front person?
I think Ball. Honestly, Ball might be last to make sure everyone else gets in.
So who's the third person in line?
Probably me. And
go ahead and make a con save.
Oh, Jesus.
So all three of you are making con saves.
Alrighty.
9. Even though I'm trying to hold my breath.
Might be your last chance to use your inspirations if you have it.
Yeah, but apparently we have to do it before we roll.
22 for Felix.
Which sucks, because I never know if I'm going to need it.
15 for me.
Okay. Ellory, you're fine as well. Vesper, or as this fumes come out and you being coughing, Ellory and Felix, you're able to kind of turn to the side, pulling cloth up over your noses quickly enough. Vesper, you are not quite quick enough. You try to hold your breath, but there's some already in your system. You're poisoned. Currently poisoned, so you feel sick. Your eyes are watering. The veins are kind of darkening, popping out, and you feel woozy and dizzy.
I'm going to cast Lesser Restoration on myself and get rid of that.
Okay, so it's gone.
Sorry to ruin your fun.
That's okay. That's what spells are for. But after that, you can see entering into the tunnel, you can see behind you there were these glass vials that were set up to where if the door was opened without disarming a trap, the vials would shatter and poison would drop.
Is there any extra glass
poison
vials?
traps.
No, there were 3 of them and they were all broken.
Oh, right. I guess we should be on the lookout for those. My bad.
Yeah, probably.
I have to admit I'm not that great at finding them even when they're there. So, maybe don't rely on me for that.
I wouldn't dream of it.
Maybe I should just insult myself, and then you don't have to. Save you some effort.
That's really no effort at all, dear. Now, are we ready?
I assume that this conversation isn't being communicated to the party. So while you two are bickering, Ball's just kind of like surveying the room and saying, and in between your bickering is just like,
okay, so what is the plan next?
So on the other side of the doorway, there is a tunnel, and it's only about 5 feet wide, and it's only maybe about 8 feet tall. So Ball, you're going to be squeezed in this area. And it goes down, and then some stairs. They go down a bit more. And then there seems to be a tunnel that continues past you can see.
I think the plan is to go down.
Is it dark?
Yeah, no light whatsoever.
Can I cast light, find my holy symbol through the illusion, and cast light on it?
Yeah, easy enough.
Do we really want that light when we get down there?
I can tuck it under my shirt and keep it dim.
Okay.
Or do you just want me to... I can give myself dark vision. That'd be more helpful.
Maybe. Or we could all hold hands.
I'm also going to activate the hood and get dark vision.
Sure. Do you guys, I presume, go down the tunnel? Okay. So you guys go down for a little while. Head down another flight of stairs. And ahead you see another wrought iron portcullis door. You can see, instead of this narrow hallway, you see a chamber. It's hard to tell how big it is, but it's much larger than the narrow hallway you're in. Like 40 feet by 40 feet. It's kind of hard to tell. There's a couple columns in there, and it looks like there is piles of stuff on the floor. Looking around, you see rubble, stone. Give me perception checks.
Okay. On top of the perception check, Ball wants to go up to, I guess, the door or the port cutlass that you said was there.
Yeah, I guess it's just a door, but sure.
And then he's going to do another divine sense as he tries to peer and use his perception.
Okay.
Elle got a 9 perception, but she's also keeping up her eldritch sight, so she's keeping up detect magic the whole time.
Perception.
That's
I got a 9.
13 for me, but I'm also trying to see if there's another lock on this door as well.
Okay. Go ahead.
Sorry, it's a 3 for Ball, so maybe he's focusing more on the divine sense rather than his other
24 for Felix.
24. Okay. So there is a lock on this door that's pretty apparent. Elle, you get a little ping inside and to the left. A little ping of something magical, abjuration based. Felix, you kind of look in with your elven eyes, dark vision. You can see a large square chamber that has about maybe 15-foot ceilings. Inside are 4 columns spread out, and there's rubble on the floor. You see a few skeletons, some clothes, and you see something moving in the shadows. With a 24, you see something the size of like a large wolf that's dragging something to its left and right. You see it looks and appears to have wings. It's dark in color. You all begin to hear. Felix, you see this.
Does that divine sense say anything?
I don't believe so. No.
Okay.
Felix, you can see a faint shimmer across the creature. It seems to have scales, wings, and 4 legs. It's kind of arcing its neck around, looking in y'all's direction.
I think we have a fucking dragon.
You hear Bál crack his knuckles.
Vesper, didn't you learn how to talk to dragons?
I do know how to talk to dragons. I will go up to the bars. I'm going to keep like a maybe half a foot between me and the bars and speak Draconic to it.
You can now see, Felix was the only one that could see before, but you see this creature stepping out. Dark gray scales. You can see it has a wide head, flat, large mouth that comes across. You can see multiple horns that come out and straight back. Similar to like almost a Triceratops-like skull, but more draconic. And it has these 2 heavy wings that are just being dragged along the ground. It causes ruts in the stone. You can see there's lines all over this chamber where it's been dragged. And it moves over towards you. You hear a clanking of chains as you see a thing around its neck and a heavy chain leading to one of the columns as it moves up.
Oh, fuck. What do you think was in that egg?
Oh no. Oh, you poor thing. And then Draconic will go, Are you hurt? Are you sick?
I'm not hurt. What are you here for? Why do you speak my tongue?
I'll translate through the bag as I'm hearing things. Because it's faster
I
that
speak
way.
to Draconic, just leave it to me.
Okay.
So I'll translate while Vesper's going.
We're here to work. Well, it doesn't matter why we're here. Why are you here? How long have you been here?
Always. Do you have the sign? The sign.
What sign is that?
Do you have it? Are you a thief?
No.
Are you fooled?
None of the above. I'm a healer, if you need anything.
You need no healing.
How about freedom? Does that interest you?
Who are you to offer me these things?
No one. Just like you, trapped down here. If you want to be something, come with us.
Give me a persuasion check.
Advantage because of the perfume.
I should have forgot. Dope.
Natural 20, so 23.
It cranes its neck, serpent-like, over its shoulder, looking behind it.
We were not like this. But if you offer freedom, I will take you up on this. I will let you pass if you get this chain off of my neck.
We'll do what we can.
Yes.
If Felix is still translating...
if he's talking, I'm translating.
Okay. If one of you is translating, I, not being able to communicate directly to this creature, am just nodding as soon as this talk of freedom and getting these chains off him is going on.
You have to be quiet. In the next room, they watch and wait and listen.
And you guys can see on the other room, there's another door. You can faintly just see, just from some flickering candle light that's coming from a room beyond it.
I should still be invisible at this point, right?
I don't think you've cast a spell yet or attacked anything, so you should be. Yeah.
Okay. Let me go in then. I can be quiet.
Okay. And I'll explain to it. We're going to send our friend in. She's very quiet and quick, and she knows how to unlock chains.
Fine.
So there's a lock on the door that you have to get through first. So go ahead and give me a whatever on that.
First, does anyone see any sign of another trap?
I mentioned.
Take a look. Oh.
Okay.
Ask the dragon.
Yeah, I was going to mention the little ping of magic that I had felt in the cage. That I don't know what it is, but there is something there.
It's not near the door.
Oh, okay.
It's near a body in the corner.
Well, I mentioned it anyway.
Okay.
There are no traps. I am the trap. As for what is beyond, I cannot speak for that.
Well, I will try and unlock the door first.
I will look at her lockpicks which float in the air and judge.
That's a dirty 20.
Yes, you're and the wrought iron door is able to be pushed open.
And then
you see this dragon kind of moving close.
I will
revealing its neck to you.
I will.
While this,
go ahead.
Just in case it matters later, while this is happening, Ball just wants to basically start buffing himself.
Okay, sure.
So just in case later on you're like, oh, sorry, initiative, too late.
Yeah, okay, so you're buffing yourself, no problem.
So I will pick my way over to this creature as quietly as possible to unlock the
so there's a lock around its neck, a heavy chain.
So I will unlock that.
Okay. It's maybe each chain link is like an inch of metal.
Natural 20. So that's 27.
Unlocking it, there's a few like keyholes on this. You unlock each one and the heavy thing clatters to the ground. It kind of shakes its head off. Its scales kind of flexing its shoulder. You can see marks where the scales were scraped from it being around its neck.
When it comes loose, I will try and hold onto it and lower it to the ground quietly.
Give me a strength check, because it is heavy.
Ooh. Okay.
Is the door open, though, to the dragon?
Yeah.
I just want to cast Healing Word at first level. Just
sure.
Once I see those scales.
Well, that's a 6.
Oh.
Okay. And Vesper, you're able to heal, and some of those marks, all the scales are healed. And as you guys kind of move into this room, the dragon is dark, but the scales are metallic, looks almost like iron. You look around, you see bones, a few bodies torn apart, teeth marks, claw marks, and a strange, like, fractured wall and columns. It almost looks similar to when, well, I'm not sure if anyone did that. Never mind. You see strange, like, marks on the wall as this extreme force was battered against it.
Do you have a name?
Only the name they give me. A word my own. They call me Or.
Do you know how many we might face on the other side?
He kind of looks over its shoulder.
3 or 4 in the next room. Others beyond, they come and go. Tougher ones deeper.
Are they people, though, like us?
No, they have horns.
All right. I don't expect you to come with us, but I don't advise leaving this place until we come with you. Based on what I've read, releasing dragons in the middle of town tends to not go well.
Fine.
But if you can wait, we know of a place on the coast, a cave that's used to house a dragon. It's empty now. We could show you the way.
If you promise to get me out, I will help you.
We promise.
Good.
And it kind of turns towards the door beyond in the next chamber. Stitches, Elle, Forster, you are looking over at that ping of magic, moving over, and as you move over in that direction, sensing that power coming from it, you see a body there, wearing fine clothes, a suit, face down. You see long hair, only about 4 feet tall. You see sunglasses, shattered glass on the floor. and you see the ping is coming from a large, ornate ring. Looks almost like a class ring on the fingers of Houston.
I will bend down with trembling fingers and take the ring from his hand and try to gather up the pieces of his sunglasses.
Okay. You're able to do so. Taking the ring, gathering up the glasses.
If I see that she has found her friend, I would like to look around for Colt.
I was going to say the same exact thing.
Yeah. You can make investigation checks, and
I'm going to use my advantage or my inspiration for this.
Sure. And Elle, you notice on him too. He was actually Elle. Give me a investigation or a medicine check, since you're over Houston.
Definitely not medicine. 17.
Okay. So Elle, you notice as you're looking him over, you see large claw marks about the size of the dragon's on his body. You can see the lower half is torn apart. You also see strange, fractures in his arms caused by some tremendous force, but nothing directly bludgeoning like a mace would be, but something that fractured several of his ribs and his arm. You said 17?
Yeah.
You also notice additional claw marks around his throat and some in his stomach. You see a large blood mark from his stomach where these claws were dug into him. These are smaller claws, large but not nearly as large as the dragon's. And you see they've left a strange afterburn on the flesh, where it's darkened and reddened almost. It looks sick, distinctly different from the other claw marks.
Once I notice that, I will point it out to, I would say, Vesper, from what I know of her, that she might know healing and body stuff. So if she's not directly still talking to the dragon, I will point that out to her.
Yeah, I'm not doing well on my search for Colt, so I can help. Come over, take a look.
And I got a 16 searching for Colt.
Okay. Looking around, you don't see Colt, any of his remains. You do see a number of other bodies, some of them completely skeleton, some of them half-eaten. And Vesper, as you're inspecting?
The medicine?
Medicine, yeah.
Well, it's not a good roll, but it comes to a 13.
Okay, 13, using your kind of surgeon background and all that. You do notice the different claws. Looking at the strange claw marks in particular, you notice the claws have strangely been burned. You see searing marks, as if from extreme heat. But something strange about the marks as well. You can't quite figure it out, but it's more than just burning.
Can I tell, does it look like the claws themselves were heated, or that it was burned, that it was burned during, or that it was cauterized later?
It looks like it happened during the infliction of the wound.
Okay. And it looks like fire, not like acid burns?
It does look like fire, but it seems something else is going on. There's some sort of strange sickness or poison that's going on as well. It's hard to know. There's something strange that you can't quite account for beyond claws and burn and heat.
Does it look like, because I'm going through it, does it look like the blood is infected with something?
It's hard to tell with a 13. There's something else that you're not sure, that you can't really tell. It's something weird and sick.
Because I'd like to take a sample.
You can take a sample of some of that.
Okay.
Blood, dried.
Yeah, that and whatever I can that looks like it's diseased.
Sure. And as you're inspecting the body, kind of turning it over in order to get a better look, there's a small box that you notice. This is one that Houston carried with him often, and it holds more than it seems to be. It's about the size of a cigar box. We always known it could carry more.
Well, I definitely pick it up and take it with me. I'd probably just flip it open just to see if I saw anything inside out of curiosity.
Yeah. And I correct myself, you should have noticed two pings. One was the ring and one is this. And this is, you open it up and it's essentially a bag of holding, but it's a little cigar box. And you feel around inside, you can feel like a sewing kit, various fabrics, stuff, a few bottles of wine, more than a few bottles of wine. And so as you're in this room and this dragon is kind of turning to look towards the next chamber, what are you guys deciding to do as we're kind of wrapping up this evening? What does Elle decide to do? The rest of you as well.
Well, I think the rest of us are probably prepping to continue forward, deeper into this place.
How about Elle? You found Houston and his box. What's on her mind as we kind of wrap up this session? And what's your plan, both Noelle's and Stitch's?
Ella's kind of in shock right now. She's very shocked and scared of the dragon and of the very, very bloody mess that is in front of her. And she doesn't really, she's not really thinking about like what it means to move forward, but she's also kind of scared and doesn't want to go back by herself. So she'll probably just kind of be moving with the group and just kind of doing whatever happens at the moment. I know well, I am available next week. So if you guys want me along for the ride, I've still got lemon drops. If
you're interested, I'm sure we'd be glad to have you.
Yeah, I would love to.
Okay.
Let's see what
else is down this proverbial rabbit hole. Okay. Okay, so Elle is we leave her as she's kind of coming to grips with the death of Houston and then taking his items, his sunglasses that he always wore. What about the rest of you? What are your characters doing as we kind of fade on this moment?
Felix is casting spells on Bál and just kind of prepping.
I think, kind of as this dragon turns around to face what's ahead, you see in the background Bál is rubbing some kind of substance on his maul, and you see the remnants, whatever remaining drops of what looks like a potion of fire breathing kind of on his lip.
I think, not seeing Colt anywhere, I am going to return to the dragon and try to communicate through Felix, probably, if Vesper's still occupied, and ask if it knows. Actually, no, I don't think Ellory was paying that much attention to specifically what Vesper was looking at. So I think I will ask more generally what it knows about what we can expect beyond, if there's anything besides the tieflings that it knows about.
Horned ones, and the one with the claws.
As it kind of says those two words as it turns back to kind of face and is about to charge, essentially. So that's the moment we'll kind of come back on as you asked that. Bál and Vesper, I think. Oh, no, Bál was rubbing some sort of lubricant on his maul. What is Vesper doing?
I don't know. I think Amsen has Beacon of Hope, so I'm not sure if I want to cast it yet.
We can get into what exact spells you're buffing
but I
on,
might
just
be
kind of
buffing.
what's your last feeling image as we're backing out?
A deep breath, thinking of all of the things that we've got planned for today and all of the unknowns, and just kind of steeling herself for whatever's going to come next, be it good or ill.
So as the kind of camera pans around to each of the faces as they're preparing and steeling themselves for what's forward, it begins to almost backwards reverse from the faces, seeing over the head of the dragon, backwards almost melting through the wrought iron door into a lit little chamber. There's some stairs. To the right is a little table where you see a number of tiefling guards that are playing cards around a few little candle lights, laughing, joking, and apparently about to be slaughtered. We'll see what happens next time on Back to the Story.
Thank you for listening to this episode of Back to the Story. For notifications when an episode goes live, you can find us on SoundCloud, Spotify, iTunes, or wherever you prefer to get your podcasts. Download the app of your choice and subscribe or favorite us there. We also have a YouTube channel called Back to the Story, an actual play podcast. If you'd like to contact us, you can tweet us at back2_the_story. If you can't fit it into 280 characters, you can always email us at thebonfirefables@gmail.com. And if you'd like further information about the campaign, the player characters, NPCs, or behind-the-scenes sneak peeks, follow us on either Twitter or on our Tumblr, back-to-the-story.tumblr.com. Lastly, if you'd like to support the show, feel free to buy us a coffee at ko-fi.com/backtothestory. We'll see you next time in Northville.